also hope that you had an amazing day so far. All right, so for today, we will be doing our grade 2 English lesson on homophones, right? So we'll be doing our grade 2 English lesson on homophones. And before we start with our lesson on homophones, you are going to log in to aplusstudents.ca. And once we've logged into aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 2, right? So we've selected the subject of language arts, grade 2, and now we're going to scroll down to the chapters up until we get to homophones, because that is going to be our lesson for today. So homophones, right? And under the chapter of homophones, the lessons that we are going to be focusing on is homophones with pictures, identify homophones, and use the correct homophones. So, homophones with pictures, identify homophones, and use the correct homophones. That is going to be our focus lessons for today. All right, so now we're going to homophones with pictures. Okay, so we are going to have to match this picture, right, with let's say a word that's similar to the picture, um, and we're going to basically find out what a homophone is. So before we match the picture, let's first find out what a homophone is. All right. So a homophone, right, or homophones. Homophones are words, right, that sounds the same but have different spellings and meanings, right? So remember, it is words that sounds the same, right? So you can have two or three words that sounds the same, but the spellings and the meanings are different, right? So once again, homophones are words that sounds the same, right? And once again, like I say, you can have two or three different words that sounds the same, but the spellings are different as well as the meanings are different of these words, right? And if we look at a few examples, my friends and I buy lunch at school. So the word buy, right? If you buy lunch at school, then it means that you need to pay for something, right? So you either use your physical cash to pay for something or you use your credit card to pay for something, but you need to pay for something in order to get whatever product or in order to get something that you want, right? So, buy, it means to pay for something. We need to give money. We need to give our credit card. We need to give our debit card, right, in order to get something in return that we are buying. So that is the one buy, and that is B-U-Y, right? As you can see, the spelling is B-U-Y, right? So sounds the same, spelling and meaning is different. Then we have another word buy, which is B-Y. And it says, then we all eat together by the big tree, right? And by over here, it means near, right? So by means near. So by the tree, right? And by is spelled B-Y, right? And as we can see, if we now compare the two words that we have mentioned so far, right? It sounds the same, but the spellings as well as the meanings are different, right? So we have buy, which is B-U-Y, which is to pay for something. And then we have B-Y, which means near, right? Now we have another word by, right, which is B-Y-E. And it says, we say bye to each other when the bell rings. And this word bye, it is basically short for saying goodbye, right? So instead of saying goodbye, we can just say bye. So as you can hear, these three words, right, which is bye, and bye, right? It all sounds the same. All three of these words sounds the same. But as you can see, the spellings are different. And also with the spellings being different, the meanings are also different. Because the first word buy, it means to pay for something. Like I'm buying lunch at school, I'm buying me an item of clothing, I'm buying me a Nike sneaker. Then the second buy is it means near. We're going to be sitting by the tree we are eating by that tree, right? And then we have another word by, right, which is a short for goodbye, and that is B-Y-E, right? So once again, these are words that sounds the same, but they have different spellings as well as meanings. All right, so now if we look at the picture over here, right, and it says which word matches the picture. So the picture that we can see is an ant. It's a picture of an ant. Write it down. So this is a picture of an ant. Ant. Right? So now we need to find a word that sounds the same as ant, but of course the spelling and the meanings are different of these two words. So ant, another word that sounds similar to ant is ant, right? And that is ant, which is basically my mom's sibling, my mom's sister, or we can say Aunt Macy, Aunt Baker, Aunt whoever. My aunt is picking me up at school today, right? Or picking me up from school, right? So these are two words that sounds the same, aunt and aunt, but the spellings as well as the meanings are different, right? So aunt. All right. So if we look at this word over here, right? Or the not even the word, the picture. This is a road, right? Which is R-O-A-D, road. We need to find another word that sounds the same as this word, which is road, but of course, your spelling and your meaning are or can be different, right? So, road, another word for road, right? Another word for road is road, right? And road is the past tense for ride, right? And as you can see, these are two words that sound the same, but they have different spellings and they have different meanings, right? So different spellings, different meanings, right? And of course, it is road and road. And the first word road, which was in the picture, right, which is ROAD, right? That road means cars drive on a road. So cars drive on a road, right? It's an open road, either tar road, gravel road, but cars drive on that road. Then the word that sounds the same as this word road is road, right? Which is the past tense of ride. So we can either ride a horse, we can ride a bicycle, right? So that is road, right? So road matches road. All right, now we have sun, right? In the picture, we have a sun, which is SUN, right? This is the sun that rises in the day and sets at night, right? The sun that gives heat or brings heat. Sun as the main source of energy, right? So now the word that matches, or in sound specifically, right, is sun. SON, right? And that word sun, right, it means either someone's boy child. That is sun, right? So sun and sun, as you can see, these are words that sounds the same, but they have different spelling, which you can see is SUN for the first sun, and then SON for the word sun, right? As well as the meanings will be different, right? So the word sun that we now match that sun with, right? Which is SON. It is a child that is a boy, right? It's a boy child. And then we have the sun, which is SUN, is in the sky and it gives us light, right? So that is the two words. It sounds the same, but they have different as well. So homophones, right? Homophones with pictures. Homophones, oh, does that sound the same? Then spellings have different meanings, right? You can have either three words that sounds the same, however, the spellings and the meanings are different, right? And we call these homophones. All right, so now we are going to match the words with the pictures. We're going to look at the picture and then we are going to match the specific word in the test with its correct picture, right? So now if we look at this picture, right, it's like a beautiful, like a flower. Is this a rose, which is ROWS, or a rose, which is ROSE? All right, so if we match the picture with the words or the words with the picture, then we will choose the correct word, which is rose, which is the second option, right? Because the first option, rose, it is like saying almost like rows or aisles that you need to walk down, right? There are different rows. But rose, which is ROSE, is to do with a flower. Get red roses, yellow roses, and so on. Which word matches the picture? What is the girl doing? Right or right? The first option, write, WRITE, or write, RIGHT. We need to find the correct or choose the correct homophone or the word specifically that matches the picture. All right, so what the girl is doing, she writes, which is WRITE, right? And the other option, right, the meaning of that option is can either be a direction, which is right or left, or it can mean he or she is right. You are correct, right? And if we match the word WRITE, right, to the picture, then it means that it is where you are either taking a pen or pencil and you are writing something down on paper, like a letter, right? So, right is the correct one. So, which of these words matches the picture, right? So, that looks like a coin. So, the coin, right? It shows 1 cent, right? So, cents. Is it the first option or first word, which is cent, SENT, or the second one that says CENT? All right, so basically, if we were to choose the correct word that matches the picture, we're going to choose the second option because cents is to do with money, right? Whether it is in the form of a coin, right? It is money. 1 cent, 2 cents, and so on. Whereas the first option, cent, it's like sending someone to go to a specific place, right? Or to collect something. Which word matches the picture, right? And this is a B, right? It is a B. So either the first word B, which is BE, or B double E, right? The word that matches the picture. So if we were to choose the correct word that matches the picture, we will choose option 2, right? A bee that either stings or we have a bumblebee, right? There you go. Which word matches the picture, right? Plain or plain. So the first option, plain, PLAIN, or the second option, which is plain, which is PLANE, right? So if we choose the correct word within that sentence, or not a sentence, the word that matches the picture, and then we will choose plain, right? It's like it's also the short for airplane, right? All right. So that is now homophones worth with pictures, right? So we're going on to identifying homophones now. So now we're going to identify homophones. All right, so if we identify homophones, right, we are then now going to identify um, words within a sentence that we are either going to underline or select, right, that matches the specific word that is given, right? And that is us identifying homophones, right? And remember we said homophones are words that sounds the same, but they have different spellings and they also have different meanings. So which means that the spelling and the meaning is totally different, but the sounds are the same. And I also mentioned that you can have either 2 or 3 words, right, that all sounds the same, but the spellings are going to be different, as well as the meanings of these words are going to be different, right? Which means that they don't mean the same thing, right? They don't mean the same thing. And we made examples of buy, right? There's 3 different ways in which we can say buy or make mention of the word buy, or 3 words that sounds the same, buy. But the spellings are different as well as the meanings are different. All right, so now we need to select the homophone of through. The homophone of through. We need to find the homophone of through. All right, so if we select the homophone of through, it says base through the ball to the third base, right? We need to select the homophone of through within this sentence. Base through the ball to third base, right? Which means that we are going to select the homophone of through, which is through. It's like to throw, right? Which means that the homophone of through is through. It's like to throw, right? So the first word through, it means we go in by the one end and we come out by the other end. It's like going through a tunnel, right? Then we have through, and it means tossed with your hand. It's like throw, but in the past tense. Flu. Select the homophone of flu, right? And this flu, which is FLU, is to do with you getting sick, getting a cold, getting a fever, right? So the birds flew over the field of flowers. So the bird flew over the field of flowers, right? So we need to select the homophone, right? Which means that we will choose flew, right? So flu is our homophone. It's a homophone of flu, which is FLUE, right? So we have flu and we have flu. So these are our homophones, and as you can hear, flu and flu, they sound the same, right? But as we can also see, the spellings are different as well as the meanings of these 2 words. So now let us get to what the meanings are of these 2 words. Okay, so flu, right? Flu is a kind of sickness that is like a cold, but it is worse, right? That is flu, which is FLU. Then we have another word, flu, which is FLEW, right? And this flu means move through the air using wings, right? So these are 2 words that sounds the same, but they have different spellings and different meanings. Select the homophone of flu, and we already selected that one. It is just basically turned around. So the farmer's whole family was sick with the flu, right? Flu, it's like a kind of sickness that is like a cold, but worse, right? So that is the first word, flu. Well, not the first word, the word that we basically match, the homophone that we match with flu. So there we have flu, and then we have flu. right? So these are two words which sounds the same, but the meanings as well as the spellings are different. All right. Now we're testing ourselves, right? We need to select the homophones of buy, B-Y-E, buy. I always buy bread at the store. So we need to select the homophone that goes with the word buy, B-Y-E. And the word that is the homophone of buy is the first option, buy, which is B-U-Y, not bread. Select the homophone of year, year, H-E-A-R, year, right? And the word year, the homophone of the word year, it says, there's a hole in my head right here, right? Is it year, option one, or hole? That sounds like year, which means that it is the first option, which is year. All right. We need to select the homophone of B, B double E. Will you be at school tomorrow? Is the first option B, or is it at? And remember, we said homophones. It is words that sounds the same, but the spelling and the meanings are different. So B is the same as saying or sounds the same as B, right? So I will be at school tomorrow. So B. No, no. There is no nuts for the cake. Is it the first option, which is no, which is O, that matches that word no, K-N-O-W? So we need to choose the or select the word that means similar or that sounds the same as the word in bold, which is no. So there is no nuts left for the cake. So we're going to choose no. No and no. Nose. Nose. Mitch's nose is red from the sun. Nose. Right? So this word nose, if we match it, right, if it's a word that sounds the same as another word, we will say nose, right? My nose is red from the sun. So nose. So I thought I was going to use the word nose, no, and no, but not from, right? So nose is the first word no. It's like having that aha moment, and you're like, ah, I knew it, right? That is the first word no. And then the second, the nose, it is part of our face, right? Where we breathe through. So nose and nose. All right. Now we're going to use the correct homophone. We're going to go to use the correct homophone. Okay, so once again, we have homophones, right? And homophones that sounds the same, but they have different meanings as well as different spellings, right? And like I made mention of the word buy, right? Buy is three different words. All of it sounds the same, but the spellings as well as the meanings of these words are different, right? So now we need to complete the sentence with the correct homophone. All right. You will what at school tomorrow? All right, so we can then say you will be at school tomorrow. So be, right? So be, not B double E, just be. There are no nuts left for the cake, right? I remember we had options of no's and no, right? So we have no and we have no, right? There are no nuts left for the cake, right? Which means that the second the first option no. So basically no, right, is to be aware of or familiarize yourself with something, right? So that is the first no. And then the other option, no, which means not any, right? So no, thank you, not any, and that is no. So we will say no. All right. Did you hear what Mr. Saldwell just said? Or Caldwell just said, right? Yeah. So we have two options of yeah. We have yeah, and then we have over here, right? We need to choose one of these correct homophones to add on the line. So did you hear what Mr. Caldwell just said, right? Which means that we need to hear, we need to listen, right? That is HEAR. So hear, it's like listening. And the other option here, it means either yeah or it means there. All right, so now we're going to go on to our test, right? Where we need to complete the sentence with the correct homophone. The birds, is it flew, FLU, or FLEW? The bird flew over the field of flowers. We need to choose one of these correct homophones. Words that sound the same, so flew or flew. All right, so if we were to choose the correct one, we would say the bird flew, the second option, over the bridge, over the field, sorry, of flowers. Andy threw the ball over there. So we have there and we have there, which is THERE for over. Not yeah, but there, right? And then we have there, right? Refers to people, right? So Brandy threw the ball over there. And then there's a hole in my head right here. Yeah. Is it the first one, which is HEAR, or the second one, which is HERE? Yeah. All right. So if we find the correct word here, we're going to choose the second option. Not there, but here. Rita said hi and shook my hand. Or Rita said hi, HIGH, and shook my head. Right? So which means that it is a green, which is HI. All right. So basically, these are homophones, right? And we see homophones are words that sounds the same, right? You can either have two words that sounds the same, you can have three words that sounds the same, even four that sounds the same. However, the spelling and the meanings are different from these, let's say, basically words, right? All right, so now we're going to do a few activities. And here we just have a few examples of what a, let's say, basically homophones are. All right, so homophones are words that sounds the same, right? So they sound the same, but the spelling as well as the meaning of the words are different. Like for example, eight, right? Which is to eat food. And then we have eight, which is the number eight, right? Totally different words, spellings different, but the word sounds the same. Eight and eight. Then we have write, which shows a tick, and we have write. It's like writing down something with pen to paper. And these are homophones. And here we even have a few examples more of homophones, which is B and B. It's like saying be quiet. That's BE. And then we have a little bumblebee buzzing around. Both of these words, it sounds the same, but the spelling as well as the meanings are different. Then we have beach and beach. So beach, it's like saying, oh, it's a beautiful day to be at the beach, right? And then we have another word similar to the word beach is the green beaches toned tow the great beaches towered up towards the sky, right? So there we have the two words similar in meaning, sounds the same, sorry, meaning and spelling are different. And then we still have the same with bean and blue and blue. All right, so now we are going to do an activity, right? And the activity says you to complete a homophone that matches the picture. So here, like the rabbit, is it HAIR or HARE? So if we select the correct word that matches the picture, we will then say here, right? Then we have meat, right? So is it MEAT, fried meat, or meat, MEET? So we will go with meat. Then we have desert and we have desert, right? We need to choose the correct form. So desert or desert. All right, so if we choose the word desert, then we are going to say it is the dry desert, sandy and sunny. And then we also have maize, sail, witch, flower, flower, pray, and night. So these are basically words that sound the same, but the spelling as well as the meanings are different. And we call these words homophones. Homophones, right? All right, let us do this last one. We need to fill in the blanks with the correct homophones, and the words are given to us in the bracket, right? Do we say we were at the party or we were at the party? Right? We need to choose the correct one. So we can say we were at the party. The prince is the son of the king, or the prince is the son of the king. So we will go with the prince, which is option one. I read the book over time or overnight or read. It's definitely not the reading part. Read. I thought the flowers were real or real. So we'll go with real. And can you close the door to your bedroom? Right? We didn't necessarily say take out the clothes, throw out the clothes, but close. Is it CLOSE for closing the door, opening and closing, or clothes, items of clothing? Right? Oopsie, sorry. So it is the first option, which is to close the door. It's like opening and closing the door. So that is basically the end of homophones, right? And we said homophones are words that sounds the same, but the meanings as well as the spellings of the words are different. So great to thank you very much for joining our lesson. Thank you very, very much. Till next time, have an amazing evening further. Goodbye.